Hello everyone, Ted here from emodels.co.uk. Welcome to part 2 of the Tamiya Challenger tank build. In this video today we're going to make a start on putting some of the parts in this box together and make a start on building our tank. Before we start doing anything at all, let's have a look at where we're going to work. Now then, first of all, I would suggest that you find yourself a nice clean area to work. That may be such as the kitchen table or your desk, or if you're lucky, somewhere like I am in the spare bedroom. Now wherever it's going to be, whatever surface you're going to work on, I would suggest first of all you protect that surface either with a cloth like this or some newspaper, because you will guarantee that while you're building your models you will knock something over, spill it, and your partner ain't going to be best pleased when you're trying to clean paint or glue from the surface. Now then, I would suggest that you get yourself a cutting mat. This is one I've had for a few years now. You can tell by the different colours and marks in it that it's seen a few models go across its top. These are available in quite a few sizes from your local model shop, or even you can find them in material shops. Ladies use them for quilting and such like that. You'll find them in there. As I said, they come in various sizes. This is the one I'm quite happy with. Looks, I think it's about 2 feet across. This is an A4 size. This is a really old one of mine. I'll use it sometimes just for cutting or mounting on. But not only do these protect your work surface from cutting and such, but they'll also define the area where you're going to work. You'll find that you will actually keep this bit of your workbench clear, while all around it your paints, your glues, etc. will spread around, but you're still going to find all your parts on here and you're going to be able to glue them together. Okay, let's have a look in the box and see what parts we've got. Okay, so I've opened the box, had a look at the instructions and found the right sprues that we need for the first part of the build. What we're going to look at doing is building sections 1 to 4 in the instruction manual, and we're going to choose the parts. Mainly all the parts will be from sprues A. Now then, if you pick up a sprue out of the box, particularly with the Tamiya kits, you'll find in the corner of each sprue is the letter that relates to the part number, such as the wheel here will be A39, so that's part sprue A, part 39. Looking along, I don't know if the camera can quite pick it up, but looking along the sprues you'll find that the wheel there, this is easily identifiable because it's quite a big piece, is part 39, so that's A39 and that's the part that we need. Sometimes one or two manufacturers don't quite put the sprue numbers on and you're forever searching through lots and lots of plastic trying to look for sometimes very small parts, but Tamiya I know that are quite proficient in the way they turn out their sprues. As I said in part 1, I have been and I've washed all these with warm soapy water, let them dry naturally. Once I've handled them a little bit, they'll be a little bit greasy again, so I might give them a little go with soapy water once again before we start the paint. Anyway, let's cut some parts from the sprues. So we're going to need parts 35, 37 and then the rest of the wheels, which are easily identifiable. As I mentioned before, when cutting from the sprue, get yourself the bigger knife, a bit heavier duty knife, and find the parts and don't press but slice the parts off and they'll come off quite easily. So we need all of these. The thing is, when building a tank, some of the parts, especially the broad wheels, they do come to be a little bit repetitive but it's the nature of the beast, and it's all the work that you put in now will make an excellent model at the end. So we'll just cut all these parts out, just slice, just touch. What you will find when you cut them off the sprues, try to leave just a little touch of the plastic sprue on the edge of the part. If you're trying to cut it too close to the part itself, there's a good chance you're going to cut into the part and damage it. We can file these bits off. We can file these bits off with our files and shape them up before we actually glue them all together. Right, that's one sprue, that's one side of the road wheels done, and then we do it all again for the other side. So by the time you've cut the road wheels out on your first tank, you should be quite proficient at cutting parts from the sprue. Now, as these parts are all the same number, they're all, there's 6 parts 39 and there's 6 parts 18 on one side and the same on the other. It doesn't matter in this case about mixing them up. Good solid pieces of plastic. There we go. That's the main road wheels cut from the sprues. Just work them all out. There we go. Make sure each one has a mate. There we go. That's the main road wheels. Now we need the drive sprockets. That's these parts, and the idler wheels. That's these. And then we'll need some support rollers. Just these parts here. So what I'll do, I'll get on and cut these out rather than you sit watching me for an age just cutting parts from sprues. I'll cut them out, check everything's together, and we'll get back to you in a moment. Okay, that's the first parts all cut out. I've actually gone and glued the first side together just to see how they all went together, and they go together fairly quickly. One thing to point out, if you're doing repetitive work like you would be with tank road wheels, I find an ideal way is to lay all the parts out as we've got here, so that you don't forget to put a part in. It was quite easy to forget something and then not get fitted at all, or find you've glued the wheels together and forgot the bushes in the middle. These black things here, don't know if you can quite pick them up, are a little nylon polyurethane bush which goes in to the centre of the wheel like that, and the wheel goes on top, and it actually pushes on to the suspension arm. I think it's designed so that the tank wheels can actually rotate, which isn't really important in a model like this. However, the way it goes together, ready with your glue. Always dry fit first, just to check that these parts all go together. Poly cap goes in there, and the wheel goes together like that. These don't actually have a locking pin on them. I thought there was a little pin just to lock so that they didn't spin, but there isn't. Anyway, gluing. Just get your brush. We don't need a vast amount of glue. Just get your brush, wipe it off, and a touch of glue just around the edge. Once again, just a touch of glue inside there, and there we have it, your road wheel, the first one done, if you're following this. The support rollers, these are the little support rollers. Now, as I say, dry fit first, because if you look at this part here, it will go on like that, but it will also go on like that, which is actually the wrong way around. So you need to check. Where's the instructions? You need to check, looking on the instructions, there we are, there it is. That's the support roller, and that way around is the way it goes. If you're unsure, just have a look through the instructions and you'll see them there again. Here we are, and it shows you the completed item glued together there. So always check before you apply the glue. Once it's glued together, especially with plastic cement, it's very difficult to get them apart. So push them together, check it's the right way around. This one we can put the glue on as it's assembled. Just a touch of glue in there, the capillary action will take it all round. Push it together, leave it, let it dry. That's the second part done. Now then, on these road wheels there are some very small parts. These little wheel hubs, I suppose you call them. What we would do with these, oops, just knocking that over, put that one there now as a finished, the finished lot, is touch of glue in the centre. This is where your tweezers come in handy. It's a very small part, we just try not to handle it too much. Don't squeeze it in the tweezers, just hold it, put it in, just push it down, it's glued on. If you try to squeeze anything with tweezers, it'll shoot across the room and you'll never see it again. So just, tweezers are just for holding, not for squeezing. You spend most of your time, instead of model making, crawling around on your hands and knees looking for parts in the carpet. There's another one, that's the road wheel done. Let's do it again. Poly bush in the middle, bit of glue, just glue around there, put it together. That's that one done. Bit glue in the middle. A little bit much glue there, I've actually made a mistake. Put too much glue on my brush and it's actually sort of pooled in the centre there. Leave it alone, don't mess with it. Just put your part on and leave it, and the glue will evaporate. If you try to clean it up or mess with it, you'll just find it, you'll end up getting fingerprints in it. The plastic will sort of squash and you'll damage your part. Just leave it, it'll evaporate. Okay, that's two. Once again, poly bush in the middle. Touch of glue. Touch of glue again. There, over. As I say, it does become quite repetitive. There we go, another one. They do go together quite quickly. It's probably because of the good manufacture of Tamiya. It's such a good moulding that the There's not really a lot to clean up. In this case, there's no edges to file off or faulty fitting together. It just goes together really quickly. There we are, put that on there. Once again, poly bush. As I say, get the glue where you want it, whether you're using a liquid poly like this or you're using one of those blue glue pots with a long tube on the end to apply your glue. Just put it where you want it. If you get it in the wrong place, don't mess with it, just leave it and it'll evaporate. That reminds you, if you've got this poly stuff, if you've got this liquid poly as well, don't leave the top off. Don't leave it off if you walk away from your table. Put the top back on, because I've done it before. I've left a bottle open overnight, gone to bed, come back in the morning and half of it's gone. It just evaporates. Some glue on that. Remember, just pick up with the tweezers, don't squeeze, just push it on, and there we go. Right, there's the road wheels done. That's another 6. 6 out of the 12. Join the batch of completed ones. We'll look at cleaning them up in a moment. Next is the idler wheels. Same principle. Once again, these have a little guide slot in them, just so that you know that it goes together properly. You can just spin it round, it'll drop into place like that. Do a dry fit first, make sure everything fits. Once again, put the poly cap in. Now when you check on this, put it together and just work out where the mating surfaces are, the parts that touch, and it looks to me like it's actually this surface here. That's where we're going to need the glue. Just a touch. Pick it up, just put the top back on, spin it round, and it'll drop in. There we go. That's that one done. Last one, these are the drive sprockets. These are the bits that pull the tracks around the wheels. Let's put our poly cap in there. It goes in that one. Try it together, and once again it's got a locating lug just in there. The camera can pick that up and it drops in. See, there it goes like that. This time, if you'd see, it leaves us a very small, just wait till the camera gets into focus. I can't quite get him to focus. Leaves a very small gap just around there. Now then, if you just touch your paintbrush with the glue just onto that gap, capillary action will take the glue right around and then just finally push it together. That's them all done. Okay, put the lid back on the glue. Really, I would leave these to dry for an hour or so. The glue dries fairly quickly. It does remain soft, so if there's any real delicate parts, I'd leave them a good overnight to let them dry. But what we can do with these, because they've gone together so easily and they're a fairly large gluing area, we can actually get on and file these little extra bits of plastic off. Remember, in the first part I said make yourself some emery boards, just some lolly sticks with some wet and dry emery paper glued to them. Brilliant they are. Don't cost too much to do. I do have some files. Differing sizes and shapes for all sorts of getting into nooks and crannies, but for just something simple like this, if it's your first tank and you want to get yourself going and don't want to spend too much cash straight off, make some little emery boards. Just file them off. Doesn't need too much work, doesn't need any pressure. Okay. Try not to file them flat. Look at them, and what we're actually trying to do here is file around, so we're just giving that sort of action, a rocking action with the emery board on the parts that we're taking off, and it won't file a flat. It'll file a rounded edge. There we go. Doesn't need too much. Blow the dust off. I feel it. If you can see it, just take a bit more off. Do that with them all. Anyway, I'm sure you don't want to see me. Now I've given you the idea. You can get on and get your own wheels cleaned up, and we'll come back in 10 minutes, or we'll come back when I've let these dry and I've filed them all up, and then we'll look at attaching them to the hull. Okay, I'll carry on filing and see you shortly. Okay, here we are again. Since we last met, I've been and had a brew, let the glue dry and everything firm up, done one or two other things, and I've also been and filed up the road wheels, taking off all the bits of excess plastic from where we cut them from the sprues. I've obtained one or two other pieces from the box and cut them off the sprues, and I've also jumped on a step. I've actually completed step 2 and fitted the bazooka plate supports, also some of the rear drive drums here, glued them on, and here it just says removed. There's a little bit of flash just inside the grooves there. I understand that these grooves were actually so an axle could drop in, because when this model was originally brought out in Japan, it was actually a motorised model. Would have been a cracking little model if it was motorised and have this scooting across the living room floor. Anyway, that's that done. These parts here, the bazooka plate supports, I think it's with them on, it's going to be a little bit fragile, chance of getting them knocked off, but I think once we get the road wheels on, we'll be able to move on, put the hull to one side and move on and do some other parts. Anyway, let's have a look at these road wheels. As I've said before, because it's a repetitive sort of process, it's best to lay everything out. Lay it out first, so you know you've got all your parts, and you know that when you get to the end, there shouldn't be, it's not like a do-it-yourself flat back piece of furniture, there shouldn't be any parts left when you've got to the end. Okay, so let's have a look at the support rollers. Looking at our instructions, it actually says that the hull should be upside down. So upside down, that's the way it's orientated on the plan, and the support rollers go in there. Dry fit them first, dry fit everything first, always dry fit. If it doesn't fit, then you can sort it out to make it fit, but once you've got it glued in, it's more difficult to correct things. Okay, that looks like them. Okay, we'll take them out. Just lay them down. Back to our glue pot. Drop a glue in each of the holes. And once again, making sure we've got the right parts. Just put them in there. Now then, these are a little bit of a loose fit. So we just need to make sure that they're not catching on the bazooka plate supports. They look nice and straight to the eye. You can already feel the glue sort of grabbing as it melts the two parts of the plastic together. But that's it. Just hold them in place just for a few moments. Let them glue. Okay, that's that side done. On to the other side. Seemed to be, I thought it was missing a part then, but there it is. Once again, I've already dry fit these just before I came back to you, just to make sure. So I do know that they fit. Making sure we've got the right ones in the right place because we're on the opposite side. Oh, that's wrong. There it goes. See, got to practice what you preach. There it goes. That's in there. That's in there. And finally, that one in there. Just for a final touch. Just a touch of glue, just to run down the shafts of the rollers. Final check of the drawing that we've got everything right just before the glue goes off. That one's just, there we are, just straightening them all up. They tend to move a little bit. Okay, we'll just lay that down, just put that to the side, just let the glue go off. And now we can have a look at what's next. What we're going to try and do now is fit these idler wheels. These are these parts, and they should just push on. Remember, they've got the poly caps in them. They should just push on like that. Now then, what we're going to do with these, we'll just get them into position now because they'll all come off again. We'll take them all off, which is actually what we can do because they are on these poly caps. We can take them off and paint them. We'll paint them separate from the hull, and we'll discuss that when we get there. Okay, now the drive sprockets. Once again, just pushes on. Poly bushes, poly caps allow them to spin. Because of the nature of the tracks on this kit, it's not really going to be practicable that it'll actually push along the tabletop. But you could try it. It will sit nicely on the shelf on display rather than running along the floor. Okay, they're on. Starting to look a bit more tankish, you know. Tankish is a word. Right, we turn it over. We can still let these bits dry here. They are firming up, just to check them. Now then, we've got some tiny bits on here now, which look to be sort of bearing covers, I would guess. 12 of them, one for each part of the suspension. That's these. So once again, the tweezers come into action. I do find with these, once again, great of Tamiya, because they'll only fit one way round. There's a little locating lug on the hull itself, just here, and underneath. No, you can't really see that, it's not coming into focus on the camera. No, doesn't want to do it. Here's a locating part itself. Okay, so these will be really easy to fit. Just a drop of glue, tweezers. Oops. Remember, don't squeeze, just hold it and push them on. Next one, bit of glue. Once again, when I cut all these off the sprue, clean them all up. This is how good this kit is, you see. When this is finished and it's upside down, nobody will ever know that these parts were there. But Tamiya add these little bits of extra detail. And a little bit about this tank while we're just putting all these together. I always like to research my projects, do a bit of searching on the internet, have a look round and gain a bit more information. And there was 420 of these Challenger ones built. They were built by the Royal Ordnance Factory. They weigh about 62 tons. It's a colossal weight for a tank. At the time, they were the most advanced, well, they still are one of the most advanced tanks in service today. They're only 9 foot 8 inches high. A bit precise, is 9 foot 8 inches. But the secret of a tank is to keep its profile as low as possible. So 9 foot 8 inches is what it stands at. And for a 62 ton tank, it's quite capable of doing, on these very road wheels that we're about to fit, it's quite capable of doing 35 miles an hour or 56 kilometers an hour, which, if you think of 62 tons going that fast down the highway, you'd be wanting to get out of its way. Oops, this piece doesn't seem to want to fit. There's always one. Oh, we'll get it in the end. Because I'm talking to you, you see. Not concentrating on what I'm doing. There we go, that's that one on. It's always interesting, any subject you do, just to find a bit about it. There's usually a little bit of a write-up given by the manufacturer, the kit manufacturer. Just a little bit of history about it, but it's always worthwhile, especially in with today's technology and the use of the internet and Google or other search engines that are available, to find out about it, and even dig out some pictures. Which is, if I'll just put these last two on. Sometimes researching on the internet, especially looking at photographs and pictures of the vehicle that you're building, be it a tank, an aircraft, car, truck, anything, you can often find extra little bits of detail in those photographs that you could actually add quite easily. As I say, I do it with all my projects, and these are some of the pictures that you can find available on the internet just with a quick 10-minute search. So, bags of detail in photographs like this. Or if you're lucky enough to live next to near to a museum where some of these vehicles are actually on display, nothing better than going and seeing the real thing and taking loads of pictures, and then you think, oh yeah, that's a nice bit of detail there, or something like this. Just add it and enhance your own kit. Anyway, let's move on. That's what I do anyway. Makes it more interesting build. Okay, so we've got them built. They've got all those stuck on. Now we're going to put the tow hooks onto what will be the front of the tank. Make sure, because the hull is upside down, that we fit the right parts the right way up. Once again, another part on there. Just make sure they're straight. Just touch your glue just to get them in. Now then, this part here is a towing eye. Can hardly see it. Just a little towing eye on there. Need the tweezers for this one. It doesn't actually show on the instructions there. It doesn't actually show on the instructions which way up it goes. Now then, if we put a bit of glue on that, and we can glue it in that way around so it actually fits flush with the bottom of the hull and it's straight. If I hold the tank the right way up now, this is the front of the tank. That towing eye there, them two tow hooks there, actually match up with the pictures I found on the internet. So that's another reason for researching your subject. If something's not clear in the instructions, quick look on the internet, a few pictures, and you know you can get it right. Anyway, that's that done. So now we've done section 3. Move on to section 4. This is where the wheels go on. Once again, repetitive system. We can put them all together and we can put the wheels on. I'll just dry fit these for now. They'll probably fall off, but dry fit them on. Yeah, they will. Because what we need to do there's a little bit of play just in this fitting. But what we need to do is need to ensure that when we fit all the wheels, that they all will touch the ground. So that's what we need to do. Put your wheels on, put them onto the suspension arms, put them into the suspension themselves, and a touch of glue, capillary action takes the glue around the joint and it glues on. But then, because there's that up and down play, put the play, make sure it sits all the way down at the bottom, and just hold it until it tightens up. Next one, once again, things start to get a little bit tight now because we're getting all the wheels in. Touch of glue, up and down movement all the way down. Now then, this bit here, I'm not going to rush this because we want to make sure that all these wheels are touching the floor, and then we need to let the glue set. And to do that, I would suggest that we only do one side at a time, because you'll start messing with one wheel that's out and you'll knock all the others out, and you'll be forever going around in circles. So that's going to be it for today. Once you finish, before you go, just check on a nice flat surface such as your cutting mat, check that all the wheels are going to sit flush on the ground. And let the glue set. So that's going to be it for today, for this video anyway. I'll go away and get all these road wheels on, and then next time we'll look at moving on. We'll start probably next time on section 5, building some of the smaller parts. We can put the hull to one side, let everything dry and firm up. We'll tackle some of the extra bits and the upper body of the tank. So thanks for watching again. That's part 2 finished. So it's Ted from emodels. Thank you once again for looking in. Please comment or like our video, and we'll see you again for part 3 when we'll be doing some more. Thanks for looking in.